Direct from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the gem of Norfolk County, and taped at the studios of Foxborough Cable Access. It's Foxborough Central, and here's your host, Bob Hickey.
And welcome to another episode of Foxborough Central. I am Bob Hickey, I'm your host, and I am so glad that you took the time to join me and my guests as we talk about the people, events, and organizations that make Foxborough truly the gem of Norfolk County. My guests today are Paige Duncan. She is our planning director here for the town of Foxborough. Paige, welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me.
And of course, Cindy Haddad-Drew, who is the owner and purveyor of Cindy's Jewelry. You always have the name right, and I don't.
Cindy's Diamond and Jewelry Gallery.
One of the best, well, I shouldn't say one of, the absolute best diamond showroom here in Foxborough. And I love going there because you're always in there and you're such a piece of Foxborough with the Founders Day and all the other things that you volunteer with. But here we're going to talk about a new volunteer opportunity. So before we get into talking with our guests, we're going to talk about the Downtown Business Association. That's right, the Foxborough Downtown Business Association. Not heard of it yet? Neither has anybody else. That's because it's brand new. So to lead us into it, why don't we first introduce ourselves to Paige Duncan, who is our town planner. You've not been on my program before, so welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here, and I've gotten to know you over the last couple months. Learning more about the vision of Foxborough, but you've been working so hard behind the scenes and in front of really the face of Town Hall's push to create a new reality around our common and downtown development, as well as for the entire town. So why don't we just start off and say, hi, who are you and how did you get to be here?
Hi. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I've been here in December. It'll be 2 years, so I'm hardly new, although I am new by Foxborough standards, obviously. And I was in the neighboring town of Rentham for 10 years, so I've been watching, the news, reading the same newspaper, and keeping an eye on Foxborough for years. So when this job opportunity opened up, it was quite a blessing to be able to come and join, and it's been a great time. We've been working on downtown and commuter rail and Route 1, and we've got a lot of things on the table, and a lot of great work has been done before I came to set the stage for my efforts.
Well, you just touched on 3 different things that are going on, and we're going to focus right now on the downtown. Although you can't really take one without the other. You really have to look at the big picture, right?
True, true.
Now, in April, there was the conclusion of a study that was done called Downtown Vision. You want to touch on that briefly? Because I think that's going to lead directly into our conversation today.
It should, because that was the whole purpose of this effort we had. Is we partnered with our local regional planning agency, Metropolitan Area Planning Council, MAPC. You'll hear that name thrown around. They serve us sort of as a regional planning consultant, per se, and they give out grants, and we obtained a grant. And we wanted to see, I guess the term is precondition, set the precondition for a downtown business association. We knew we were working on towards regulations like zoning and just other avenues towards downtown redevelopment. But we also knew we wanted to get the private sector involved, the business owners, because they're an important voice. They're really the key stakeholders. So having the downtown business owners engaged in this effort of downtown was really a key component. So the MAPC came out and they did a couple workshops and they created a report, which we have on the website if anybody wants to see.
The Town of Foxborough website.
Correct.
Go to the planning board and they can find
it should
the
be,
link.
I think, under reports and studies. We have a little tab for that, and there's a lot of great information under that tab, in fact. So they generated a report and they made some recommendations, and I think the best part of it is gathering everybody together. It got Cindy in the room, got Bob in the room, and it got a few others, and next thing you know, it starts to create this precondition we were looking for, and now really the credit goes to you guys for sort of taking the ball and running, because that's what we were really hoping would happen.
Well, I will say that I first got involved with it. Jay Barros, our representative, Republican from Mansfield, invited me to attend the report at the library, and so I was very interested in hearing it, but there's always that one or two missing pieces of the puzzle, right, Cindy? And they kept talking about destination points and a reason to be open, and then also what's going to happen with that block. So let's talk about destination points. You've been a business owner here in Fox for what, 25 years now?
Yeah, 25 years.
Time flies.
It does.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
You're our neighbor here on Central Street.
I am, just a few doors down. So we celebrated our 25th anniversary in April. And
Is that the diamond anniversary?
It's silver anniversary.
They're all diamond anniversaries.
But yeah,
aren't they?
every anniversary is a diamond anniversary in
I'm
our
sorry.
store.
When I throw a softball and it goes way out in the left field, nobody gets my sense of humor, so my apologies.
It's fine.
But you have silver there as well, right?
We do.
Fantastic.
We do.
There you go.
So being in this town and having a business in the downtown for 25 years, you see a lot. And you're involved in a lot of different things, whether it be repaving or new lights going up and simple things like that, the comings and goings of others' businesses. And you sit there and you hope that the new business coming in is going to have the longevity and a good structure so that they will be able to be a part of the community and flourish in our community. So we've seen other times where, like I said, we've had the roads paved where it hasn't been our voice. We haven't been included in what's been going on. So all of a sudden one day we might look out and see, hey, they're rubbing up the road. And we had no idea. Mm-hmm. And how do we get a hold of our customers? And I'm saying, our street is closed. And then, since I've been here, it's been ripped up 3 times. So, and that's
and it will probably be ripped up again.
Oh,
I'm
sure, because there's always something
sure.
as they put out in new piping.
But you bring up a great point in that time doesn't stand still, and just because things are going great today doesn't mean we can't. In fact, we have a responsibility to everybody to plan forward, which you're head and shoulders above what many other towns have, just because you are not only creating the vision, but you're sharing it, you're including other stakeholders into this vision quest, if you will, and you're actually putting some meat and potatoes behind the thing. It's one thing to write a report, right? And then just say, hey, this is a great idea, and then nobody does anything about it.
Absolutely, and I think Paige was probably the first person in 23 years that ever came into my business and said, hey, we're doing a downtown, and I'm like, a downtown what? Mm-hmm. And she got my attention. What are we going to do with the downtown? This sounds awesome. This sounds exciting. Embracing change is always a good thing to do with any town. It's always great to say, well, we always did it this way, always did it that way, but we need to do something different because the businesses, the people, things change. We get the internet, we're fighting with that now, mm-hmm. and we have other structures, we have bigger companies coming in, and so the little downtown areas are kind of going by the wayside.
And isn't that interesting, because the downtown areas started going by the wayside in the 70s with the advent of the big malls, and then the thought was, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but back in the 70s, was that we need to create walking malls, pedestrian malls that'll encourage people to come walk and shop. But then people realized that walking outside in the elements only works, particularly in New England, on certain sunny days in May and August. Other than that, it's pretty beastly out there. And then the thought was, well, we need to create something where you're not having people living there, because that would take away and be too inconvenient. But now the thought is, correct me if I'm wrong, you actually want those people to be living in your downtown area. Mansfield's a great example of a community that really embraced that 15 years ago and has been doing all the groundwork and putting the pieces in place. And now you see that they've got the multiple units all throughout the downtown, where you've got the retail and the restaurants on the first floor. Second, third, and fourth floor is residential, condos, apartments, that sort of thing. So you have people living and working.
I want to jump in on that because I want to make sure that folks know the one thing that people have made very clear in my time here is that Foxborough is not Mansfield. So the good thing is Mansfield has the benefit of the train station. Mm-hmm. So that right there creates their own market, their own character. And Mansfield is a beautiful town. But Foxborough has its own, more, I don't want to say country, but more rural, more quaint New England village. So we are definitely aware of that, and I don't want people to hear Mansfield mm-hmm. and think that we're aspiring to, there's nothing wrong with Mansfield, but that's Mansfield, and in Foxborough, the scale is a bit different. Yep. So any development downtown, we envision being compatible with what you see out there today, compatible with the common, but you mentioned a good point. I mean, we are looking, if the master plan identifies the need for some housing downtown. So we are looking at that opportunity, because one of the things Cindy mentioned is things have changed. we've learned through all these studies and all the analysis is that putting people where they are going to live, shop, and play is how it works now. So that's why having people live in downtown, they're the folks that are going to go to the restaurants or go to the jewelry store or someday get in a bakery and a cheese shop, all the things that people want. We need people downtown because the sidewalks really do roll up after work hours. So
And a reason also to have that discussion is we're not only not Mansfield, but our downtown area is configured so differently. Our downtown, one half of the block is a memorial hall and a cemetery and a bank, and that encompasses one entire side of our downtown block. And so it becomes a much different discussion than one where you've got essentially 4 blocks going for the length of 3/4 of a mile, which creates a whole different vibe, absolutely. So in Foxborough, what can we possibly do?
Well, that's one of the things. One of the conversations that we were having during this process was what's going to attract people to the downtown area. So a downtown business organization is going to help come up with some ideas, whether it be, a night out, a ladies' night out, where they can go from different businesses and try different things and just learn about what the businesses are down here. Just because I might be one of the only or few retail locations in the downtown, other businesses can at least have an open house and show people what is going on in their businesses, in their locations, and what activities can we use to bring people down. So when we were in the discussion, we were talking about the mountain bike community being one of the largest in the state, I believe.
Taking advantage of all the trails that we have in the state forest.
Right, and so we have, so if they get away from the state forest and they come to the downtown, what can we do and what can we use to attract them to come here? So we have food, we have a food venue, or maybe a bike festival on the Rotary, and embracing some of the other businesses and bringing them in, whether it be a food cart from one of the restaurants or the bike company that's right on the common, to encourage those people to come downtown, even if it's just once a year, but it gets them out of the state forest into the downtown, so there is something here, and there's a reason they can go out and grab a bite to eat if they want to, if they need one of the new Kalo wedding bands, because I sell the silicone wedding bands.
There you go.
For the rugged individual who's active. So it's just one of those things that we are looking for different things and different reasons to bring people to the downtown.
And I think also from an advocacy standpoint, of course, I'm here with Paige Duncan, our program director, and Cindy Haddad-Drew, the owner of Cindy's Jewelry. And I'm Bob Hickey, the executive director of the Orpheum Theater. I suppose I should introduce myself also. So between the three of us, we seem to capture a slightly different segment of the business community. But I think it's a great example of how all three are going to need to come together, because when you have events that we already have, such as Founders Day, which is a pure community day to support the nonprofit organizations, and it is a nonprofit organization in and of itself, but it's a community celebration day. But there's also the Foxborough JCs and their vendors fair. There's the recreation department. They do so many things, particularly the tree lighting ceremony. The recreation department also with hopefully a farmer's market in years to come. There's other things that do go on, but we as a business community don't have a voice, a unified presence. And so this Downtown Business Association, correct me if I'm wrong, but that'll create a player in the game, someone that, or an entity that sort of encompasses everybody, where we can spread the word not only within the membership, but also help support these groups. So a bike event that would happen, there's got to be a sponsoring organization. There's got to be a conduit to make these things happen. And I think ideally that DBA, the Downtown Business Association, would become that group that would say, hey, not only is this a great place to do things, but we'll help you get these things done. We'll actually take the lead if it makes sense for us.
And I think, too, adding to that is the business part of it, but then there's the sort of infrastructure, as we say. One of the primary complaints we hear about downtown is there's not enough parking. We actually have studies that show there is sufficient parking downtown. The problem is people don't know where it is, or it's marked as 1 hour parking, and they're fearful to park there.
Sure.
Having parked for 2 years with no town hall parking, I could say there's lots of downtown parking. But what we want to do, we want to work with the business community to start doing things like getting you branding, logos, maybe some maps to show where the parking is. Maybe we can work towards cleaning up the parking area and making it feel more comfortable for visitors to park there, so they don't feel like they're parking in an area they shouldn't be, or that their car might not be secure or something.
Right.
So we want to make sure we start putting some of those systems in place so it is a welcoming sense of place. And that's something I think, the town and the DBA and other businesses can work together to organize the priorities and, really come up with some strategies for checking a few of these off the lists and starting to create this destination.
So that is a great segue into the Downtown Business Association. We're going to call it the Foxborough Downtown Business Association. Co-founder Cindy had it, Drew. You actually have an email address. If people want to learn more about the DBA, they can email Foxborough, spelled the correct way with the UGH, foxboroughDBA
@gmail.com.
And we also have a meeting coming up, do we not?
We do, 7 a.m. at the Orpheum on September 6th.
So it's our inaugural meeting. It's the one where we're going to introduce everybody to everybody and present ideas, brainstorming, high view, and also people understand this is going to be a real working type of group, because the focus needs to be to promote Foxborough, promote doing business in the downtown district, and also promoting really participation by everybody here. So do we have the downtown district identified yet? Do we have a membership list identified yet? Do we have a goal and mission statement identified yet? Do we have everything that we need? And so people coming on September 6th at 7 a.m. in the morning, they don't have anything to do, or is there still work to be done?
There's still work to be done, and I think a lot of what's going to happen on September 6th is a meet and greet and getting to know people and listening to what their ideas are, what their concerns are. We're not looking to steamroll anybody. We're also looking to get ideas and get other people on board so that their voice is heard, as well as we can communicate well together and get a clear understanding of what our needs are. One person might have a completely different need than another, but maybe in some way they're actually the same. And identifying that and bringing it to out in the open so that we can share it and see if we can solve it.
One of the greatest examples I have of that whole, what one person thinks might be really great, another person maybe completely different realm. The parking, there's parking behind all the businesses here on Central Street. There's actually plenty of parking. What, there are 80 spaces?
There's about 80 spaces out back.
There are a ton of spaces, and they are marked. There's big signs with a P and parking this way. But the thing you hear time and time again is there's no parking back there. Well, I know there is, because when I was on the Board of Selectmen, that was my project, and so we worked very hard. And we put up as much signage as we thought we possibly could. But I have to take that step back and hear people say, well, we don't see the signage, we don't even know what's there. So we're obviously doing something, if not wrong, at least we can be doing it. We missed the mark. Yeah, exactly. So that's a great example. It's a great aha moment where, you know what, just because I think we're set with something to find something, we may not be. And so I think this inaugural meeting on September 6th is going to be a great opportunity for everybody who's a stakeholder, all the businesses here in the downtown area. And I think we're going from, at least at this point, we're targeting, so from the common spidering out, we're going up to just beyond the BP station, going north on Main Street, correct? Stop me if I'm wrong.
Granite Street.
Granite Street. And then we're going on South Street to Town Hall on both sides of the street, correct? And then about there. And then on Central Street, we're going south to the mobile station, are we? Are we going that far down?
I would have to check on that. I would have to look at. Yeah.
The reason I'm saying this is that we still don't have it defined. So now's the time to come out and make your voice heard, make yourself part of the process, because this is really our community downtown business association. We should be making it something that works from the ground floor, not only organic, it's not government run, it's not privately run, it's a community deal. So.
And to that point too is that, say 132 Central and 56 Leonard, maybe they as a whole don't feel like they're part of the downtown, but they have a point person that can come to the meetings and hear what's going on and maybe join in if we're doing an event and they want to participate or they want to sponsor something, they want to jump on board. Even if it's something that we're doing at the Rotary, at least they can get out of their businesses and say, hey, here we are. We're part of the Foxborough community too.
Because ideally what's going to happen is the events that we plan and the really the organizational structure that we make is going to be something that benefits all of Foxborough by having a strong downtown. I don't think we as a town thrive and survive with a quote-unquote dead downtown.
Like I should say, that was one of the number one priorities of the master plan was through the public surveys and the residents responding. They felt strongly about bringing back a downtown or creating a sense of downtown. And I think a lot of people who live in Foxborough identify with that sense of community, and it's nurturing sort of the heart of the town. You know, I mean, as hokey as that might sound, it really is. You know, I mean. But
it's accurate because sometimes the stars align. We have a strong economy. We have a solid tax base here in Foxborough. We have strong industry with Schneider Electric, with a renewed sense of commitment from them. We have a strong Route 1 development. So this is really about the downtown area and how do we make this area. And the funny thing is that we don't have empty. We have one vacant storefront right now.
Yeah.
It's not as if we don't have businesses that are doing well in Foxborough, but everybody says there's nothing there, and yet there's nothing not there. So it's really one of those things where we need to communicate, we need to not only embrace who we are, but we need to expand it and show. And then that key driver piece. So I know that we have that huge piece of property, the old fire station, and the Keating Funeral Home that was taken by tax title many moons ago, that when coupled with the handcuffs being taken off, the shackles being released of sewerage, gives us a whole new opportunity. So you must be kind of excited about that.
I'm very excited about that. The Economic Development Committee has been working hard on this project, and we're to the point now where we're ready to go to the Board of Selectmen to talk about doing a market study on that property, because we are now seeing the interest in this property and the value of it. The sewer is being invested in, and we have a yield plan. We know the number of units that we could do in maximum build out. We're not proposing that, but we kind of, the build out will help define the value. So then it's going to be a balancing act between community character and you know, what the town wants to bring in. But the good news is the town controls that, and we're going through this process to really educate ourselves on, you know, what the town has and what the potential is there, and coupled with the Orpheum, which is an exciting development, you know, that corner is suddenly becoming a vibrant part of the community, and it's been so dormant or you know, underutilized lately that it really could add to the community character out there and bring people downtown.
I'm glad you mentioned the Orpheum, because there's, you know, such a wonderful set of businesses that we've come to know, love, and depend upon. Cindy's, you know, Bill Barbershop, the Foxborough Federal Savings Bank, Ameriprise with Eve Ketty. There's so many businesses that have been here and been part of our community, and there's new ones. So the Orpheum is a great example. Starting September 1st, the new ownership group is in place. I'll be the executive director. We're ideally going to bring a great new energy, make it really a truly community-based resource. And so when you think of community-based resource, you want to say, well, okay, how do we then utilize that? And I think that's what we have the opportunity here now, is to take that building, what it is, and then say, okay, but this is what it should be. And now we can actually do it, because with support from the planning department, from you in particular, some great connections and grant opportunities. And then with the other groups in town, we are going to create a new vibrancy on that corner, and then hopefully for the entire area. So we're talking, you know, with the intermodal transportation, it can be a partner in there, with all of these new initiatives, but also with some of the old ones. Something as simple as a community bathroom. You know, something simple like that just becomes an annoyance, now becomes a resource. And so for someone who's been here now for 25 years, who's been sort of going it alone, if you will, because in my mind, you're really the only true retailer that's been here in Foxborough. How do you see this going?
I see positive changes. I see, you know, especially with the Orpheum, we now have a place for Founders Day, for other community events, for other organizations that can say, we have a meeting place. One of the things that sticks out in my mind is meet me at the Orpheum. Yeah, I think it's just a really cool venue. introduction of
I'm going to put that on the sign, by the way. Meet me at the Orpheum.
Yeah.
It's
a good idea,
See,
slogan
that's
right
why
there.
That's why I did this program. I learned so much.
just the introduction of a new restaurant, the ability to have something simple for people to go to get a small bite to eat if they want to stay and watch a show, or if they just want to go grab a quick bite to eat, and just downtown, it's there, and it's something that people have been looking at for years, and the doors haven't been open all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So with this being more of a community building, the door's going to be open all the time. People can walk in, they can check it out, they can use a restroom, they can ask questions, grab a bite to eat, or just invite friends back, have a meeting, have a birthday party or something, in the future, and they can start planning and thinking about things that they might want to do.
Yeah, and I think the key on that is with the doors being open, and the Orpheum has been a great legacy partner here in town since '93 when Neil Colvin refurbished that after it was purchased from the theater chain, and really wanted to create that performing arts stage. So from his leadership, and then with Bay Colony and Bill Cunningham's leadership, to now ours, really what we want to do is make that openness, that vibrancy that makes it a go-to, because there's new restaurants. There's that new restaurant opening up on Bird Street. Right. There is going to be a new, I think the vision is a brew pub. Is that is that the official vision, or is that just a really cool vision?
It's not an official vision.
It's a cool vision.
No official vision has been created, but that seems to be what the market is calling for. I have a list right now of 7 individuals, and I would say 5 of them are interested in a brew pub type environment. So we'll see. Definitely some sort of restaurant would go there.
Wouldn't it be so great to have events and then reason to come walk in, create foot traffic to generate the type of robust buzz and people in our town that gives businesses a reason to thrive.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to close. I'm going to give you 2 the last word because you deserve it and earned it. And I'm just going to say that if you want more information about the Foxborough Downtown Business Association, you can email them at Foxborough, spelled the correct way with the UGH, foxboroughDBA@gmail.com. We don't have a phone number yet, but you should come out to our inaugural meeting on Wednesday, September 6th. That's at 7 a.m. in the morning for coffee. The business portion gets started at 7:30 a.m. Why so early in the morning, you ask? It's because people who run businesses have to have their businesses going. So we start early so that way everybody else can get on with their day. So that is what we are going to do with the Downtown Business Association. It's our first meeting. We don't have any outcomes identified yet. We just have ideas and a new beginning. So Paige, why don't you start us off with the last word?
Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody in Foxborough. This master plan I always bring up really has been my guiding document, and it's given me sort of the vision that I work under. You mentioned the vision. It's not mine. It's the community's. And I'm excited to work with everybody on the downtown. We've had recent developments with the commuter rail on Route 1. And we actually, thank you, we actually envision a shuttle bus running from downtown to the train station by way of Baker Street, and it would get to Carlin and Court, Chestnut Greens. We're trying to hit some of our growth notes. So my final note is stay tuned. There's a lot of excitement to come, and if anybody's interested, please participate, because it really is, many hands make light work. So we could use the help. And
a rising tide raises all ships.
That's
Cindy,
right.
How high is this tide going to go?
As high as it can go. So this is a great opportunity, whether it's for a business owner or for a community member. And I see on the Foxborough discussion page a lot of people saying, we need this downtown, or we want this downtown. Businesses should do this. So it's not just the businesses downtown that should be part of this. We need a voice also from the community so that we can hear what it is that they're looking for. I can only do so much, but with other community members, maybe there's somebody out there that wants to put something in, or that has an idea, or that already has a backing for a brew pub that can put something like that in, or a group of guys or people in the community that already have what they need to make things happen. So, inviting the businesses in the downtown community, as well as people from, outlying areas of Foxborough that can come in and give us some ideas and some feedback would be really wonderful. So if you can come to that meeting, that would be amazing. And we're looking forward to seeing new faces and getting some new ideas and making things happen in the downtown.
Cindy Haddett, Drew, thank you so much.
Thanks, Bob.
For taking the time away. Always love Cindy's jewelry, and love the new town hall and seeing it in your office there. People should find you. You're on the 2nd floor, very open to meeting folks and hearing about new ideas.
Absolutely.
And so Paige Duncan, our town Planning Director. Thank you so much for both of you taking the time to join us here at Foxborough Central. And thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope to see you on Wednesday, September 6th at 7 a.m. at the Orpheum Theater for the first meeting of the Foxborough Downtown Business Association. Until then, have a great day, Foxborough.